Good, I'm good.
Nice, really good to see you. You're
Good to
looking
see
well.
you. Thank you. You're looking fresh too.
Thank you very much.
You needed a break.
Yes, of course. I needed that, you know.
What happened to
Anyway,
say?
oh, Nyamia Domboko.
Right.
So
Good.
glad to have you. We started a conversation a couple weeks ago about kidneys and kidney disease. You
Right.
give us a very good introduction about it. And of course, against the backdrop of the recent surge in kidney cases and as well the cost of dialysis, which we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now.
And kudos to you guys
Yeah.
for making that conversation happen.
Absolutely, the dialysis crisis.
Yeah.
Luckily for us, institutions like yours have very good dialysis centers now.
Right. So we are contributing to solving the problem. We're looking at solutions, and the private sector, I can say in the area of health, the private facilities are really up in their game. There are quite a number of private centers with dialysis capability, and I'm happy to announce that that's our latest addition
Wow.
to our scope of services that we have on offer at Mampong.
Okay.
And you want to be able to dialyze in a very serene environment, as well. But we'll get to talk about that later on. Well, the fourth week of this series, I think we'll focus on chronic kidney disease and the whole business of dialysis. I won't really focus on that. We'll talk a lot about that.
Today we get to talk about the manifestations of kidney disease. I think last 2 weeks you gave us a bit of a
Introduction about the
yeah.
functions of the kidney. Right. But, Kwame, it's an important month.
Is it?
Oh, it's Pink October.
It's Pink October.
It's Breast Month.
The Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh, the cancer no it's the
Dog,
breast
no,
month.
no. It's cancer awareness.
Oh, sir.
Yes.
That's a bit of a dampener. But I can. When you hear the
Looks
breast,
like you slept well last night. What did your wife
Right.
give you?
the usual.
Okay. Now I understand. But yeah, it's
Right. So, Kwame, today we're going to look at some red flags. Last week I talked about the various functions of the kidney. This week I want us to look at what are the things that when I see, I should think probably my kidneys are crying out for help. And therefore I need to see my doctor and at least have a conversation. Because I think that is one of the biggest challenges that I have come to realize. Our early warning systems as
Right.
individuals, I think there's a bit of a deficit in there, and partly it's because of us healthcare professionals not doing a lot of education.
yeah.
So the kidney is an organ that can be affected by a lot of different diseases. Some of the diseases come from within the kidney, so we call them primary kidney diseases. And then you have some of the diseases also coming from outside of the kidney, but then affects the kidney. So for example, diabetes, it is what we call a systemic disease. Hypertension, high blood pressure, it's also a systemic disease, meaning it affects many organ systems, different parts of the body, and then the kidney may suffer as a result of the poor control you have of the diabetes or the hypertension, and therefore the kidney fails in its function. The best thing that we wish to have as doctors is to have classical or cardinal features that will point us to a particular disease or a particular organ involvement. If we had that, if for example, Kwame, I know that if you have a red eye, it means this particular disease entity, then that would be good. If you have a swollen abdomen, then we know that your liver or your pancreas is involved. If there were things like that, that would be great. It will make the diagnostic dilemma that sometimes we are confronted with a lot easier. But we don't always have it that way. So what I want to put out today are what I call early warning systems. Signs and symptoms that should get you thinking, my kidneys may be in trouble. So what's the first one? I did mention that in terms of function, one of the primary functions of the kidney is to make urine. To make urine. And Kwame, we expect that you make between 500 milliliters to 1.5 liters or 1,500 milliliters in a 24-hour period. I shouldn't say in a day, in a 24-hour period. That's the volume that we expect you to produce. Of course, the ambient temperature will then regulate how much you actually do make. So such that if you are out there in the sun, today when I was coming and you were asking us how's the weather out there, I was like, Papa, we will share air conditioning. He's asking us how's the weather. I looked at my dashboard, it was 34 degrees.
Oh my God.
It was too sunny.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you're out there, for example, then you're sweating a lot, your body will try and conserve water, you'd make relatively less amounts of urine. But that's usually the range that we expect everybody to make.
But we can't measure. So
Kwame, pure water sachet,
uh-huh.
it's 500 milliliters.
No,
So
but
we are just estimating.
But when you could know why Beden who said near you 500 milliliters and I say 300 milliliters.
Oh, so the way So, well, I'm just giving that pure water sachet or that bottle. That bottle, it's not the Ekufado bottle.
Who say, "Binim there, but pew." So there are differences. It's okay.
Right. So I'll come to talk about that volumes in a bit. So we're just saying that you should be able to estimate that that's the volume that you are producing.
Okay.
So the first thing is anuria. Anuria simply means that you are not making any urine. Anuria, no urine. So if you go a 24-hour period and you don't make urine, Kwame, it will scare you. You know, it will hit you that, hey, from morning till evening, I haven't voided. There might be something wrong.
Okay.
Technically, we would say that if you do less than 100 milliliters in a 24-hour period, that's our technical definition. But anuria simply means absence of urine. So a drop or you produce very scanty amounts of urine in a 24-hour period, you should worry. It may be a sign because the kidneys make urine for you. There might be other reasons not directly linked to the kidney, such as an obstruction leading to that. But again, what I'm saying is I'm giving early warning signals that people can latch onto. Another thing that has to do with the volume of urine is that you are producing the urine, but the amount that is coming is not up to that pure water sachet, volume. So if you are doing less than 400 milliliters, the pure water sachet is 500 milliliters.
Yeah.
So if you are doing less than 400 in a 24-hour period, then we'll talk about oliguria. Oliguria means reduced volumes. Anuria means no urine production. So reduced means you're not doing that pure water sachet. So then we'll worry about that. The third pointer with respect to the volumes of urine is something we call polyuria. Poly means many. So that thing that you were describing, yes, that thing came to my mind, polyuria. When you pass large volumes of urine, so that you yourself, you get worried. You stand there for God knows how long, and it's just coming. I will distinguish this from something else, which I call frequency. I'll come to that. But polyuria means in a 24-hour period, technically you make more than 3 liters.
Oh, okay.
3 liters.
That's a lot.
So that's a lot. Some time ago, there was this Coke 1 liter bottle.
Yeah.
Where did that thing go? So there was that big 1 liter. So I think just because of that, I need to reference that because I think now people know what a liter looks like.
Yeah.
So if you are doing 3 of that, more than 3 liters in a 24-hour period, then it will feature. It's way too much, and you should talk to your doctor about it. The fourth thing I want to talk about is frequency. What is frequency? I think we all know how often, on a daily basis, how often we pass urine, such that if you go beyond that normal schedule, and it is not deliberate, because somebody says, "Oh, I heard about water therapy, so today I'm starting water therapy," and taking a lot of water than usual, and you void more often than usual, then that one, please don't call me.
That's not part of it.
That's not part of it.
Okay.
We're talking about being your usual self, and then you realize that you are passing small. The operative word there is small amounts of urine many times in a day, more than 6 times in a day. Then we'll call that frequency. This is different from the polyuria, which is large volumes.
Right.
All right. We're thinking you think that, look, if you were collecting your urine, you do more than 3 liters. But the frequency, you get small volumes many times, and the many means more than 6 times in a day. We would say that this is it. But it does not exceed the total amount of what we expect. Remember, I started off by saying that we expect you to produce anything between 500 milliliters and 1.5 liters in a 24-hour period.
Right.
The other thing that should make you suspicious about your kidney is if you have loin pain. Pain in your loins. So anatomically, the loin is that area towards between the lower borders of your rib cage posteriorly at your back, where your rib cage ends at your back, and then your pelvic rim bone. Like if you put your hands on your waist, you see that where you put your hands, the bones over there forms the pelvic ring. All right. So that space between that rim and the lower border of your rib cage,
right,
towards your back, that's your loin. That's exactly where your kidneys are located.
Is it where the love handles are? They call them love handles.
I'm a lover and a bum. Exactly. You know, so we need to practicalize it for the young man. Anatomy 101. Yeah. Right, so loin pain. So if you've got pain in that region of your body, you may want to, because it may be some disease, for example, an infection involving the kidneys, something we call pyelonephritis, or you may have kidney stones.
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you know anybody, and I think if anybody who's listening to us has had a kidney stone, please share your experience with that. My big brother had kidney stones. He's a tough guy, but he was crying.
Wow.
I remember thrashing about. So the pain is intense when you have stones in that particular region. So please don't take pain in that particular region for granted. It may be an indication that you have something related or going wrong with your kidneys. High blood pressure. I mean, it's one of those things where if you take your blood pressure at any point in time and you, the doctor or the nurse tells you that your pressure is higher than what we expect, it may be a sign that you have developed kidney disease. Because chronic kidney disease, from all that we have been discussing the past 2 weeks, in Ghana, the commonest cause of chronic kidney disease is poorly controlled hypertension. Number 1. A close second is diabetes. So anybody with hypertension, we could think of it as, if you have kidney disease, it can manifest itself as hypertension. And if you also have high blood pressure and it is poorly controlled, it can worsen or it can negatively affect your kidney function, depress your kidney function. And the depressed kidney function also can manifest as hypertension. Right. So it is something that we always do. If we find or we check your blood pressure and it is high, we would always evaluate your kidney function.
Okay.
So that is something that we should also keep in mind. Feet swelling, edema. swelling of the feet. Sometimes you sit in a car. I think once I sat in an STC going to Kumasi. I remember somebody was sitting next to me, and then they kicked off their shoe. By the time we got to Kumasi, and then they were trying to get down at Tech Junction or something like that. Now, and Pabuadene and Konibio, they couldn't, their feet couldn't fit into their shoes. I said, they will be in Pabuana, and they know it's your own shoes. They just develop pedal swelling. So that can happen with long distance travel, long haul flights, as we call it, can give you pedal swelling. But that could also be a sign of kidney disease. And it actually goes from the feet to involve the ankle to the legs, the thighs, and actually the whole body. And when it involves the whole body, then we use a different term. We call it anasaka. Anasaka. It's a generalized swelling, painless swelling. I need to qualify it. It's a painless swelling of the feet and the legs. That we call that edema. If it is painful, you might have sprained your ankle, at the gym, going for a jog around. Somebody may have kicked you. You may have developed an infection, cellulitis, and so on and so forth. So that may be the reason why you have a painful swelling. But a painless swelling, all right, of the feet, the ankles, the legs, may be an early sign of kidney disease.
Okay.
There's also one thing about the swelling, the puffiness, that happens just with the face. So early morning facial puffiness. So we all have our morning look. When you wake up first thing in the morning, we have that. But this is different.
Look good.
It
doesn't look good. Oh, no.
As a only be
Charlie.
But this is different. This one is facial, periorbital puffiness. Puffiness around the eyes, the bridge of the nose area. And it tends to resolve somewhat by midday. Sorry, mid-morning. So people wake up, they look at themselves in the mirror, and it's as if you've been in a fight with Zoom professor, in your sleep. And they're like, okay, let me go and see Dr. Safo. But by the time they get to the hospital, join the queue, and then it's their turn, and then I'm like, but what's wrong with your face? Oh, doctor, I'm sorry. Oh, my mirror. I'm like, that's the mirror right there. Then they go and stand in front of the mirror, and then the facial puffiness has resolved. So early morning facial puffiness that tends to resolve by midday is something that can be an early warning signal for kidney pathology.
Okay.
And then the last one I want to talk about is something we call proteinuria, or a frothy sputum. Sorry, frothy urine. Frothy urine. So, a beer head. Ehuru.
Na no ho na you frothy
beer head. So it's a club, not chilled,
That's right.
Now usheni here. You see the beer head. If you pee, and it's like like the beer head I'm talking about, you get that foam. Foamy urine.
Yeah.
Right. It could be a sign of significant amounts of protein in your urine.
But I thought urine was naturally supposed to foam.
No.
Impanyimfo kra de bube. Say would you so go for akwanetwe huru. Won't bibi sa?
Debut.
Kwame.
Oh, Bube.
Oh no, this is Etobianti.
And call us it shouldn't be frosty. I mean, once you urinate into a receptacle that has maybe a piece of water, that agitation of the urine will cause it to become a bit frothy or foamy.
Okay.
But within a short space of time, that should go away. But like typical of the beer head, it will stay for some time.
Yeah.
And I think those who enjoy their beer, they want to see the head there and enjoy it that way.
I'm kind of a teacher for answer.
Kwame. How do you know all these lugu details about these things?
It's okay.
Teacher for sir.
I was coming to explain, but it's okay.
Me a teacher. I said, yeah.
Could you from my
Kojo.
dental? I'll say
Kojo said
it's true, Lexis. That proverb, would you so good back be a cry? Would you so need to huru?
Hey.
Na make no. Pay you for neck kind.
Pay you for the kai.
Pay for no more kidney problems.
No more kidney problems.
Kidney problems.
So one of the important things the kidney does is that it acts as a sieve, and it would, when it filters the blood to form urine, it will keep the important substances behind, and it will let go of the waste products, the things that are not useful. That's why I said some time ago when somebody said we should drink our urine in this country, and people went along with it. Those of us in the medical field, we cringed. We were like, I deal with the non-foul. So it seals it and it keeps the important things behind. Proteins are very, very important. And the size of the pores in the kidney does not allow for proteins to come through, except when the kidney is involved with disease. Then the pore sizes become bigger, and it allows for proteins to come through the sieve and find themselves in the urine. And this is part of the reason why your urine typically would look like properly poured beer.
Okay.
It becomes very foamy, and it's not supposed to. I have to issue some cautions here. Some toilet bowl cleaners, so you use something to clean your toilet bowl.
Yeah.
It will make when you next time you urinate into the toilet bowl, it makes the urine foamy. So you've got to be cautious about that.
Yeah.
If you want to use that as a measure, make sure that you haven't recently used some toilet bowl cleaner. You have to make sure that there's nothing in there. So foamy urine is something that you can should trigger a visit to your GP for further investigation.
Okay.
So Kwame, these are what I call the early warning signals.
Okay.
That should get you to come to your general practitioner or your doctor, family doctor, specialist, whoever, for further investigation.
I got a message from Masha in Kweshikuma who says, please ask Dr. Lexis to talk about PKD, which is inherited. My research shows early detection helps. I'm a PKD patient on dialysis for 3+ years now.
Right. So it's one of those things that I will talk about where next week I'm going to zero in on specific kidney diseases. So PKD is polycystic kidney disease.
Okay.
Polycystic kidney disease. Kwame, the word poly, the prefix has come again. Poly means multiple.
Multiple.
So cysts are sort of like fluid-filled balloons, I call them small balloons that are filled with fluid that take over the substance of the kidney. So you're not supposed to have cysts. But even if you have a cyst, a solitary cyst, small size, is okay. But when you begin to have multiple fluid-filled collections in the substance of the kidney, then we will refer to them as polycystic kidneys. There are two types. We have what we call the autosomal dominant and then the autosomal recessive. One of them you find it in adults and the other you find in children. So the diagnosis is made in childhood, and then the other one, the diagnosis is made in adulthood. So he has probably the dominant one.
Okay.
And that is found in adulthood. Unfortunately, once the substance of the kidney is taken over by these cysts, we're not able to replace, cure that thing for now. And therefore, you would need kidney replacement therapy, which could be the dialysis or could be the kidney transplant.
Okay.
But I'll talk more about it maybe next week or next 2 weeks.
Okay, great. That's great. I mean, this has been some really good education. We had a few messages, but we're out of time. So for those who would want to reach out to you personally and ask questions or probably come seek some consultation, how can they reach you? Right. So the number is 0501 477 340. 0501 477 340. Our WhatsApp number is the same, and you can also reach us
on Facebook. Medicals Hospital is our Facebook wall. And then our X handle is at MedicalsGH. Same for our Instagram.
Dr. Yao Osafo, CEO